Hi everyone, Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech, and the iPhone 12 has been out for about 5 years at this point. And in this video, I'm going to talk about if you should buy the iPhone 12 5 years later. Now, I'm going to show off the exterior body of how my iPhone 12 has held up, but this is not an anniversary video of my device. This is showing the iPhone 12 in general. Well, using my device, I will give a little bit of the exterior. Now, back in May, I made a 3 years later video on my iPhone 12. And typically for the 3 years I've had this phone, I've never ran betas on it. That is, of course, until now. I'm currently running the new iOS 26 public beta 9, which is crazy to think that we have 9 betas in an update. But here is the liquid glass, which is the new design. That should show I'm on iOS 26, and also the updated camera icon. I am running the all-new iOS 26 developer beta. Now, how does this iPhone hold up on iOS 26? Well, performance is pretty good on this update. If we do some scrolling here, it scrolls up pretty great. So you will get some general performance out of this device. Now, talking about the cameras, I'm going to do a camera test right now. Here I am recording from the wide f1.6 aperture camera. It gets a close-up field of view. Here is the ultra-wide camera, f2.4 aperture. Here I am recording from the front-facing camera on my iPhone 12. This camera is an f2.2 aperture. All of the cameras on here are 12 megapixels. Now, as far as the specs on the iPhone 12, and if you should buy this iPhone 5 years later, there is one thing that I will make you aware of. If you are going to get an iPhone 12, do not get the 64 gig model. That's what I have. Thankfully, I have not ever ran out of storage, and I still haven't ran out of storage, but still, it's not ideal if you do make videos like I do. Thankfully, I can manage my storage to a certain extent, but there's a lot of times where I do have to offload apps to save more storage. So if you do care about storage, don't get the 64 gig iPhone. When I get the chance, I am upgrading to the iPhone 14 or maybe even the 15, but also keeping this phone for beta testing. As I mentioned earlier, I'm running iOS 26 developer beta 9. I did say initially I would have the betas on this iPhone if I had another device to run on iOS 18. But I think instead I'm going to run whatever is the last beta of every iOS update. So whether that's beta 4 or the RC, I'm not going to install beta 1 like a lot of other tech YouTubers do. But I may do that if I have a different iPhone to keep the much later betas of the updates on. But I am running iOS 26, and it does perform pretty great. Now, this iPhone does have the A14 Bionic processor with 4 gigabytes of RAM, and it doesn't support Apple Intelligence. So if you want Apple Intelligence, you're going to have to get the iPhone 15 Pro or newer, or even the iPhone 16e, which came out earlier this year in February. I did a video back in February on my YouTube channel when it came out. Now, as far as the speakers on this iPhone, I just uploaded one of my newest videos. So let's test the speakers right now. Hawkins with Hawkins. Hi, everyone. Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech. And since the introduction of iOS 26, it brought some updates to notes and reminders. And in this video, I'm going to talk about what's new in them. So overall, this iPhone does have some pretty great speakers. The speakers on here are pretty great. Now, as far as the price on this iPhone, you can find the iPhone 12 for around $180 to $300, or sometimes $200 to $350, I believe, depending on if it's in good condition. But I recommend, if you are finding an iPhone in the $300 price range, I recommend the iPhone 13 or 14. Reason being is because you get more storage. Now, on the iPhone 12, there is a 128 gig option. If you can go for that, by all means. But if not, if you know how to manage your storage, then this should be a good option. Now, I've had my iPhone 12 for 3 years, as I mentioned that in my video, and it's held up exceptionally great. The sides and back look very amazing, and I kept it in this case. Now, unfortunately, recently, sometimes these cases never hold up that great, and my iPad case is also one exception as well. And I'll do a video on my iPad probably next week or at some point, but you can see the top of the charging flap is gone off of this device. So sometimes these cases never really hold up the best, but it does do a good job at keeping my iPhone protected, as I've had this case for about 2 years. Now, as far as anything else from this device, well, it really comes down to price. If you don't really use your phone that much, or you just want an iPhone to make calls on, watch YouTube, browse the web, and you're not much of a content creator, then by all means, this phone has excellent cameras. It has a good processor. It will get updates for about another year or so. It will last longer than the iPhone 11 until not next year, but the year after, 2027, where it will end on iOS 27. So I would say in the fall of next year, it will get iOS 27. So in the summer of 2027, it should get security updates, but it won't get iOS 28. I know it's a little confusing saying it like that, as we now have iOS 26, and Apple's getting ready to drop that new software, but it should have been 25. But that's because next year, a lot of people will still be using the software, and the software number coincides with the following year. So as far as if you should buy this device, well, like I mentioned earlier, if you're a content creator, you have a YouTube channel, if you want to take a lot of photos, I would say get the iPhone 14. You can manage storage, but it's not really ideal. 64 gigabytes will run out pretty quickly if you're not careful. The first chance I get, I will be upgrading to an iPhone 14 or 15. But if you don't care about storage and you know how to manage it, I do know how to manage it pretty well. But if you do, by all means, this is a great device. As far as anything else, well, that's it. Comment down below if you're using an iPhone 12 and are you enjoying it so far? Are you upgrading or getting the iPhone 17? If you enjoyed this video, like, comment, and subscribe. I'm Mr. Hawkins with Hawkins Tech, and I'll see you guys later. Peace.